Hello, and thanks for spending some time with me today. This episode, I've got something really cool for you guys to see. In my last episode, those of you that watched it, probably seen that I had an Eagle Talon barn find. Well, this guy had all kinds of other assortments of transportation on this farm from the past as well. It involves cars, it involves planes, it has snowplanes as well. There's some tractors and stuff as well. So I'm going to show you some of the highlights I think you're going to be interested in, such as an AMC Eagle. There's a Jeep J10. There is a Cessna plane that he's restoring. There's a Champion airplane as well, and some snowplanes, and a few other little bits as well. A 46 truck, I think. Yeah, there's lots going on, so you got to make sure you watch this episode. It's pretty cool what he's got and what he's going to do with them, and he's a really cool guy to talk to. A lot of history as well. So let's watch that right now.
We've got a 1983 Eagle station wagon, four-wheel drive. There was nothing that could match it in those days.
You got the AMC. The first Eagle. It's the first crossover.
Yeah,
that was totally ahead of its time.
Sir,
there's the
not
Eagle.
A bad car.
Few years later, the first one's never had the two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive switch. Does this have that switch? Cool.
It's in great shape.
It is.
My dad, the last years, he kept banging stuff in, and I replaced this fender twice and that fender once, and he still got them dinged. And he still dinged them up and smacked up the grill. And I found another grill, and I managed to piece it in. It's just a farmer's fix, but it's otherwise it's in good shape. Got banged on this door.
And it's never been painted or anything, so it's all
just these front fenders. I painted them when I put them on,
but no rust at all.
No, not to speak of.
Huh. When's the last time you had this running?
Start of the year, maybe.
I
brought it in here. I brought it in here this summer, early summer. I brought it in here. I don't know what to do with this thing. I think it might qualify for museum because it was so unique, being the first all-wheel drive vehicles that came out to the farm area. Nobody had four-wheel drive cars. This was the first one that I know of. No, and this was way ahead of its time because it never really, people didn't understand it. And you obviously your dad did. In today's world, this is crazy. Like, this is all anybody wants. It's all real brand now.
Yeah.
I've got a Jeep J10 in there too that my mom and my dad bought a Jeep J10 and a Eagle station wagon when they turned 60 something, and because they just wanted to have dependable transportation. We still got them. Dad, we've never got rid of a damn thing here. I'm starting to get rid of stuff slowly now, but it's going to museums. I don't throw anything out. It goes. It gets fixed up enough, or it finds a home that's going to make use of it. Just about everything that I've got. This is the J10. Yeah, I know. They're in here. They're in here. That's why I built stands for all my other cars. Get them up off the. It's all original. It's a farm truck. It could be restored.
It's in really good shape. And this is a farm truck. Is this converted?
It's conversion, yeah.
Not
worth anything.
This is
not worth anything.
Unique. Is this something your dad did?
Yep. I like it. I had a lot of fun. That was my main truck in high school. I dated, I traveled, I did everything in it. The guys and I, we used to go to the drive-in movies. You could fit two guys right in there. You could fit another guy across the back.
And all your beer?
Yeah, and all our beer. What's unique about this, it's a Meteor. And the Meteors were only built in Canada. So this is a Canadian vehicle. They had Canadian parts. If you try and get parts for this from the States, the US, for a 59 Ford, they don't know what a Meteor is, and the parts won't necessarily
even
fit
know what it
because
is.
it's a Canadian built car of its time. Yeah, it was a station wagon.
And so how?
I did my first dating in this, and we won't go any further.
Yeah, I think all our imaginations are going on right now. Yeah, yeah, we were all young ones.
Yeah.
Wow. So did your dad buy this new?
Yep.
And then how many years later did he decide, you know what, we need something for the farm?
I'm guessing, because it only has a 6 in it, a 3-speed,
Okay.
3 on the tree, and a 6. It was not very good vehicle for with all the glass and the weight in the back. So he converted it. I'm guessing the conversion was done in the late 60s.
And it was a wagon then?
It was a station wagon.
Yeah,
4-door station wagon. He just brought the window
Took
up,
it down.
put it on the back there, and built a fiberglass deck there on the back, and yeah.
You know, it's
I don't know
not,
what to do with
it's, you say it's not worth much, but it is a awesome conversation.
It is.
It also shows what farmers did.
Yes,
know?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, and they could do that because that had a full frame underneath it, so it was allowed. You could cut them down and make them into a truck. You can't do that with the modern
Got a hitch on it too?
station wagons. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So this probably you hauled the auger down the road with it or something.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
So I don't know if you're familiar with what there's the power tour, which is you drive to a track and then you run. You don't necessarily run the track or whatever, but it's huge now. There's thousands of cars and it's all about people bringing stuff like this out and having a good time and just whatever. So this would be an ideal car, I think, for that.
That's for local here in
No, it's in usually the southern states and stuff,
yeah.
sometimes Midwest. But there is one that's similar to this that runs between Alberta and Saskatchewan now. It's been running for a few years too. So
Okay.
well, this would get a lot of
Yeah.
questions.
This is a project airplane. It has some history to it as well, but
Well, tell me about the history.
it was the first year of the rear window 172, and this was a
Maybe tell everybody what it actually is
It's
or
a
was.
P172D, 1963, and it's the first year with the back window. And Cessna had 2 models in those early years, a 172 and a 175, and they eventually used the 175 airframe for all the 172s, and this was the first year where that came in. So it's a little bit unique. It had a geared engine, and unlike the standard 172, it was a takeoff from the 175. So it's a good performing airplane, and the idea was to put floats onto it. So it has some extra gusseting and things associated with the float kit, and I just haven't got around to finishing it. You know, a lot of guys quit working on this sort of stuff because they don't have the dexterity and the eyesight and everything else, and they can't bend over and crawl around underneath. But I've got a new mechanic online now, so it might get finished sometime soon.
Okay, I was going to ask you it all yourself or?
No,
Yeah.
no.
Okay. That's,
Yeah,
actually, since now that I know you, I wouldn't mind keeping tabs on this. This is pretty,
yeah. It's pretty
you don't
nice
see
little
this every
machine.
day, people doing this,
No.
right?
Here's the Champ that my dad built up in 1970. And I've got a upgraded engine ready to put into it. This was only an 85 horse, and I'm going to put in about 105 horsepower into it, so I'll get another 20 horsepower out of it, metal
Okay.
prop. And
You got the engine already?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, got the engine ready to install, and just finished getting the new instrument panel in it. As I said, his instruments were very, very outdated, but I've got instruments that are special built for this particular engine with markings, airspeeds, and things like that that are proper for the aircraft that my dad never had. Yeah, so this is my first priority right now for airplane stuff. The rest of it can wait. He bought the Champ so he could go crop spraying with it. And my plan is to put all the equipment on it that he built. He built his spray equipment, put it on the airplane, and went off crop spraying with it. And I'll put that stuff back on the airplane. I've kept it all, and it'll go into the museum too, because there is nowhere, to my knowledge, in Canada, and I'm not sure about the States, where they have the early Piper, J3s, Cubs, and the Champs that they used for crop spraying in the early days. Nowhere are they in a museum, so we're going to have the first one in Canada. And my dad's hobby when he kind of finished up with the flying on a real constant basis, he went over to Snowplanes and he restored these things. This was a Wainwright. And
you had an
is a
awesome
Fudge.
childhood. I'm going to
sure
tell you
did.
that.
Oh yeah, I did, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
We definitely had nothing
Snowplanes.
like this. This is
So they're interesting, and
wow.
they have quite a heritage. They came with a variety of engines, from a Model A engine to a Gypsy Moth engine to a more modern aircraft engine, which is what this has on it. It has a Lycoming, and this one has a Continental on it. And they were used by, the early days, the linesmen used them to monitor or to repair lines from the snowstorms. The veterinarians would make use of them to get out to the farms in the wintertime. The ministers, these would bring a lot of deceased people back from their farm sites. This is actually a Fudge, a Lorch. This is a Fudge, and my dad did a very nice rebuild on it. Not a restoration, but he did a lot of work on it and rebuilt it, and it's a nice machine.
Oh wow.
And it'll go to the museums. Yep.
Yeah, this is heritage stuff now.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, this needs to be preserved. Dad's 1946 Ford pickup truck was just a wrecked piece of
What year is this,
farm
you said?
equipment. 46.
46.
Yeah. The biggest job I found down in the States, the company that got the equipment to stamp out the boxes got a brand new box stamped out, brand new. The old one was just not repairable.
Really?
I got the last set of running boards from George Moore in Edmonton.
And did it originally have a wood?
No,
No?
no, this is the original, the way it came.
Stamped out, made, okay.
Yeah, the biggest problem we had was the fenders on the back. My dad had cut them and cut back the running board and opened them up so that he could have mud clearance, because he couldn't get through the roads before we had gravel roads.
But you're
Bumper
putting
on
a
there.
bumper on, so that'll close it up.
These things never came with a bumper, so I have to.
They didn't?
Nope.
Didn't know that. I
Nope.
gotta.
People built their own bumpers, I guess, in those days. I
Wow.
found tires. Again, somebody got the molds for making the Firestone tires with the correct profile and labeling on them, so I got that done.
What do you got left on it?
The interior.
Okay. Well,
And I got
yeah.
most of the stuff there. I've got the interior stuff to put in, and yeah, and the motor has been done, and so
What are your plans with this then?
eventually the museum.
Okay.
Drive it on Sundays and then. put
That's
it in
nice
the
of you
museum.
putting it all in museum,
Yeah.
you know, is this a little case or something, or homemade, or?
Homemade. That was more fun than a barrel of monkeys, that thing, when we were kids. It's a wonder we didn't kill ourselves on it. Model A, axle cut down, Model A transmission, Briggs & Stratton engine, the rest is all homemade. Dad made it for us. Well, I think he made it for gardening, but it was never any good for gardening. He tried putting a cultivator on it and things like that, but no, it ended up just getting used.
Just
for-
a little runaround
fun,
thing.
just
Yeah.
a little runaround.
Put a little wagon on it or something.
Yeah. This was the heart of the,
This is
of the
where
farm.
where a lot of magic happened.
Yeah, a lot of magic happened.
And I'm betting as a kid, you were out here lots.
All the time I could, absolutely, yeah. All the time. I
Learned
could.
lots.
Yeah. Our water truck, 1946. This was a thriving place when I was a kid. I come out here and you couldn't see across the room for the smoke. They didn't have an exhaust fan for the welder. Dad built his own, most of his own equipment here. Cultivators, diskers, harrows, built it all. Yeah.
He was innovative.
For
that's for sure.
1962, it was quite the place. He hired up to 5 neighbors in the wintertime. They would come and work here.
Oh, wow.
And he would build all his own equipment and sometimes equipment for them. And they had a lunchroom upstairs. And yeah,
Quite a production.
yeah, it was. It was quite the place.
Wow. And you say your dad's 95 now?
95,
And
going on 6, yeah.
There's something to be said. I'm sure he ate like a farmer, probably.
He was immersed in chemicals. My mom died at 65 from breast cancer.
Oh dear.
And but Dad persisted, and you would have thought he'd have to come. He was spraying DDT in the early days.
Yeah, there was,
Yeah.
and nobody wore any,
No, they sure
gloves,
didn't.
even nothing. Oh, is that a Dodge?
That's a Ford.
That's a
cab.
Ford cab. Okay, we had a '69 Dodge cab over,
Oh,
which
yeah.
I guess is more rounder than that,
Yeah.
but yeah, a lot of fun. So that's like a 3-ton or something.
Yeah, 3-ton.
Yeah.
C700, I think it's called. Here's the tractor my dad built. This was one of the first 4-wheel drives in the country. The guys were using Wagners, which were more construction tractors. And then Versatile, you probably remember the Versatile came out with a 105 or something like that. One of the first 4-wheel drives.
Yeah.
And Dad had this out before then.
This would have been talk of the whole South, probably.
Well, it was. He was written up
Thinking.
in the newspapers and in a lot of the farm journals, yeah. Now, this wasn't his first one. He tried making one before, but he learned from his mistakes, and this one he built up with everything he could do. I was off to university at the time, and he asked me to design the swivel for because it needed two.
Looking at
needed
that.
two swivels here. We couldn't go direct with a U-joint back, so I designed that, and he built it.
What do you do with this one now?
Goes to the museum.
I told you that would be cool, wasn't it? So that was a lot of his collection. There was actually more on the farm, but I showed you some of the highlights that he was willing to share. I thank him so much for doing that and sharing it with us. It's very important, I think, for all of us to see this. And I spent honestly, probably 4 hours with the guy just talking about things, and as he was showing me and some of the history of that whole farm and his background and the transportation of the time. And he had obviously lots to reciprocate as well. So thanks for watching. And if you want to get more stuff like this, plus a lot of other stuff, please subscribe, get your notifications, all that. And I try to do weekly videos if I can. Sometimes I do a few more. Sometimes I miss a week, but most times I try to do weekly. So stay tuned for that. And until then, enjoy every day and always make it right.